What up, everybody? My name is Crystal, and this is Book Reviews with Crystal. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the first one. Way to be my guinea pig and trying this stuff out. Congratulations. Those of you who know me, what's up? Hey. Those of you who don't, I'm Crystal. I'm a science fiction author. I am a Twitch streamer. I'm a radio show host. I'm a podcaster. I do a lot of stuff, and I am a weird person. Today, we are going to review the book Blessed Are the Weird, a manifesto for creatives by Jacob Nordby. And I have to say, guys, this book is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'd almost call it a love letter to creatives and us weird people. And not only is it motivational, but it's almost like a very loving kick in the butt to jump out and be who we are. It really, that is the best way for kind of me to describe it. Not only a love letter, but he goes into later chapters to actually, inspire us to be who we are. And that is absolutely, it's great. It's just wonderful. So I want to get into this with you. I want to talk about some of the chapters. I want to share some passages with you. I will also be talking to Jacob on the Woo Hour podcast. We will be doing that in February, at least. Well, that's when you guys are going to hear it. You guys are going to hear it in February of 2008. I'm super stoked. I'm like total fangirling. I can't wait to talk to him and really dive into, this book and some other stuff that I have that I want to talk to Jacob about. So that's coming up. To connect with me really quick before we get into it, all that information you will find down in the description, website, Twitch stuff, podcast stuff, radio stuff, all that good shit. It's down there in the description of the videos. And if you want to leave me a comment on the videos, you're going to have to go over to the website to do that there. But I would love to hear your comments and also about why you like this book. If you're going to get the book, if you've read the book already, what you thought about it. Do it. Definitely do it. So comments will be open for this video over on my website. Again, all that information is down in the description. So let's jump into it. The first passage I want to share with you guys comes right from the last paragraph of the introduction, where Jacob Nordby writes, "Now is the time to meet the heretics, the rebel magicians, the reluctant heroes, and everyone else in the creative tribe to which you give yourself permission to belong, if you so choose. My purpose in telling their stories, and bits of mine, is to hold up a mirror in which you can meet the gaze of your own genius self and witness the longing in your soul's eyes to express itself with all the color and passion and rebel pleasure that is your truest nature." That does not inspire you to pick up this book. I don't know what is, because Jacob's a great writer, and he has a way with words that I really speak to. I really do. So chapter 1 is called Listen to Your Heart, and I'm going to share one of my favorite passages from there with you as well. Jacob writes, "The art of living is to fall in love with life over and over again. It's no easy thing to walk through the world with an open heart, embracing everything, and also stand true, allowing no poison to infect us. But be cracked open often. Pour yourself into life withholding nothing. Heal and be healed. This is the way of living in full." I think a lot of us weird people can resonate with that and also have that feeling of how difficult it is. Like, that's hard. That is a really hard thing to do, because we can throw out so many adjectives about life right now, guys. I feel you. Like, woo! Woo on life. Just woo. He also writes in this chapter, y'all, "Blessed are the weird people, poets, misfits, writers, mystics, heretics, painters, and troubadours, for they teach us to see the world through different eyes." Yes, the fuck we do. That's fucking right, we do. Yes, we do. It's true. We do, though, right? So that's just in the first chapter. Chapter 2 is for the poets. And I don't really resonate with this chapter because I'm not a poet, even though I did read through it, though. It's a great chapter. And this one's for you guys. "Poetry is a life-cherishing force. For poems are not words, after all, but fires for the cold, ropes let down to the lost, something as necessary as bread in the pockets of the hungry." Mary Oliver. And what I'm also finding about this book, which is amazing, is you won't just resonate with one thing. We're going to go through these. Like this next chapter, chapter 3, that I'm going to talk to you guys about is called A Chapter for the Misfits. And damn, do I resonate with that. So let's get right into it. Chapter 3, The Misfits. The quote at the beginning of the chapter says, "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers. The round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." And that's Rob Tilton. Yeah. And we've all heard that before, right? It's from, Apple's computer Think Different, but it's true. But it really is true, and I think it was a great way to open up the chapter about the misfits. And he does that through the book. Now, when you dive into these chapters, and it's a really easy read, guys. It's a really easy read. He's got a really great writing style. The words are very vivid. He's very descriptive. He definitely is a writer. And not only does he kind of take you through this journey of, what these archetypes are, but he also shares stories with you and little anecdotes and quotes from others who fit these labels. Okay. So really, that's the chapter on misfits, and there's a whole list of misfits in here. It's a great chapter. I think I highlighted a bunch of stuff in this chapter too I read this with a fucking pen in hand as I was like writing stuff down, because it's definitely one of those books too that you can come back to when you're having a day or you need a level of inspiration or a kick in the ass. Okay. You're feeling a certain way about your creative gifts or whatever. This is a great book to kind of pick up on and kind of revisit. So it's one of those that you want to kind of keep handy. Chapter 4 is for the writers. What's up, writers? What's up? Shout out to the writers. Okay, cool. He starts out this chapter by saying, and I'm gonna share this with you. Writers are magicians. Yes, the fuck we are. They pull ideas from the sky and turn them into marks on paper that enter our minds and change our lives. Some writers deny the power of sorcery available to them and choose to regurgitate a stream of refried collective ideas or a thinly disguised batch of propaganda. But I'm talking about the ones who are able to straddle two worlds and make words come to life. They lead us into epic, fantastic journeys. They get behind our defenses and reveal our deepest fears, our dreams, and our soul desires. They lead us to the razor's edge of watershed decisions and show us it is possible to follow our hearts. The writers I'm talking about are weird people. Yeah, y'all. Yeah, another great chapter. I'm going to share a couple of, because obviously the chapter on writers really resonated with me. So I'm going to share a couple of passages here and hopefully inspire some other you writers who are weird to come out, y'all. It's time for the weird people. We'll get into that. He also writes, "Something happens when an honest, inquisitive man or woman sits down to write. It's mysterious. They tap into the collective soul, the unconscious and superconscious all at the same time. At least the weird ones do. They say things everyone wants and needs to say, but for which no one else can find words. We all need them to do this. Without people who are willing to follow imagination beyond the edge of what is currently possible, we can't move forward." So shout out to the writers, guys. We know this is true. How can you read those words and not resonate with them like it's true? It's so true. Chapter 5 is for the mystics. Starts out with this amazing quote from Rumi: "Sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment." I dig it. Why not? Why not? I'm going to share a little tidbit from this chapter with you. Mystics express their truths that rattle our reality tunnels. They walk a lonely path because most humans are invested in seeing through a fixed belief window. Can I get a true, just stamp a big ass motherfucking true button on here, right here, okay? Mystics help us understand that there is a lot more to the whole picture. Even though we might not understand their paradoxes and metaphors, something in us thrills to know that we are connected to an intelligent system so imponderably massive that our minds cannot comprehend the wholeness of it for more than split seconds at a time. Woo! Woo! I'm gonna share a couple more. Human potential researcher Abraham Maslow talks a lot about the unitive experience, in which a person suddenly breaks into a feeling that everything is somehow one thing. He said, "The great lessons from true mystics, from Zen monks, and now also from the humanistic and transpersonal psychologists, is that the sacred is in the ordinary, that is to be found in one's daily life, in one's own backyard." He also wrote, "Self-actualizing people have a deep feeling of identification, sympathy, and affection for human beings in general. They feel kinship and connection, as if all people were members of a single family." That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. This passage right here. In other words, a mystical episode becomes practical when it activates this tremendous sense of personal power and a responsibility to live deeply. Yeah. Jacob's words. There are moments when the mirror sky cracks above and you see times beyond time, worlds beyond this world. Don't ignore them. The reason any of this matters to us now is because we are called upon by the age in which we live to self-actualize. We have never reached such a peak of potential as we raced before, and if we are going to do anything with it, we must step into the power of ourselves that lies beyond the common way of humans. Our era is begging us to do it. Modern mystic Thomas Hubel said it well, and I love this definition. Responsibility is not a duty. Responsibility is my ability to respond authentically to the world. That's a great chapter, y'all. I love that fucking chapter. That chapter was so good. Chapter 6 is for the heretics. If we have no heretics, we must invent them. For heresy is essential to health and growth. That is a quote from a name that I cannot pronounce. I'm not even gonna. Get the book, guys. That's not Jacob's words. That's another fucking heretic's words. And I love the quote, but I have no idea what the fuck her name is or his name. So I'm just not even gonna. I didn't look it up before I did this. I'm not even gonna butcher it like that. Okay? I don't want to be. It's good. All right. Let's go into the chapter. Jacob writes, "You know that crazy heart of yours? The one with lightning crackling and moonlight shining through it? The one you've been told not to trust because it often led you off the beaten path? The one so many have misunderstood your entire life? Trust it. Feed it. Grow it. It is your greatest treasure and will point the way to your highest destiny. It is the voice of your soul." I like soul. I'm also going to share this passage that he wrote because it's really easy to misinterpret heretics, especially in this climate, because they make us uncomfortable. And I think a lot of weird people do make people uncomfortable. Anything that kicks people out of the mundane, out of the norm, out of the boring, it's an uncomfortable sensation. And that's something that weird people are called to do, us creatives are called to do. And one of the reasons why I think it is so difficult for us to exist is because we're surrounded by a box that people want to put us in, and we just don't want to be in that box. Like, I want to be in that box for a little while, and then I want to jump out of that box and get into a new box. And then when I'm done in those boxes, I'm going to make a brand new box. I'm going to put that box over here. You know what I'm saying about these boxes? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Sharing what Jacob wrote here. It is easy to assume that heretics and free thinkers are restless. It is easy to assume that heretics and free thinkers are reckless spirits. Some are. That is true. In my experience, though, most people who endure the slings and arrows to gain their liberty use a great deal of care about how they exercise it. They also have a surprising humility about them as they go about their apostate business. Heretics aren't all bluster and public drum beating. Often as not, they are reluctant heroes who were pressed into duty by the call of their own private truth. If the path they are compelled to follow leads them into speaking this truth in a public way, they will do that, but usually not for reasons other than the fact that anything less would be stopping short of completing their own mission to live deeply and honestly. You ever think about that, about your life that way, y'all? Like, am I living deeply and honestly? I can't remember before this book if I ever asked myself that question. Maybe in a different way, but I just love the way he puts it, like to self-actualize, to live life deeply and honestly. And I think that's what we're all working towards if we're not already there. And that's a constant thing, that's like Monday, I did it. Maybe not so much on Tuesday, maybe for like half the day on Wednesday. And then I took the night off. And then on Thursday, I was like, boom. And then Friday, I was like, what's up? And then on Saturday, I was like, no, that's okay. That's okay. I think that's real, But yeah, so let's move on. Next chapter, chapter 7, is for the painters. It's a great chapter for the painters. And I didn't mark anything for this chapter, I don't think. Did I mark anything? I didn't mark anything for the chapter on the painters, but there's a chapter for you guys there. And I am a lover of good artwork. You see that rose? I love that. I've got some other paintings around here that you guys just can't see, but my goodness, works of art, they speak to you as well. Chapter 8 is for the Troubadours. Okay, we know who you are. Sharing a little passage here for you. Mos Def, actor, activist, and hip-hop troubadour said it this way: good art provides people with a vocabulary about things they can't articulate. Then Jacob writes, music that captures our hearts often has something rebellious and forbidden about it. It reminds us of what is free, wild, and divine in ourselves. It conjures pagan longings and animal pleasures, and it also whispers the unsayable into our ears and of our souls. It helps us fear our darkness and our light, our pain and our ecstasy. Troubadours make this music help us ask questions about life and death and love. Then they help us reach into the unknown for answers that we find in feelings rather than rational thought. They activate us in deep, hidden places and open our hearts to things we need and want to feel. I very often will put on, and I can't listen to lyrics while I'm writing because the lyrics end up in like it's all messed up. But guys, it's music, right? We all love music. We all love different types of music. We love that music to speak to us. We love that song that we play on repeat like 50 fucking times, and then till we play it out. Like, come on, who does that? Everybody does that. Doesn't everybody do that? Who doesn't do that? Oh my God. But anyway, like, I love epic music like that. Oh, epic music is so good. It's so good. And I love listening to it when I'm writing because it helps me. It can help me get into the mood of the scene. It can help jumpstart the creativity. So shout out to the Troubadours. Okay. Shout out to you guys. All right. Chapter 9 is titled For They Teach Us to See the World Through Different Eyes. Yes, the fuck we do. Okay. Yes, we do. You're welcome. Let's talk about some stuff in this book. Where did I marked the passage, but I don't think I marked where I wanted to start the passage. Stand by. Okay, this is where I wanted to share with you. We're back. I marked the bottom, but I didn't mark the top. Oh, it's because I started over here. I found it. Okay, let's talk about this chapter. Sharing. Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, and Buckminster Fuller were scientists, but merely going as far as anyone had explored to that point could not satisfy their curiosity. They had this problem of audacity and insatiableness and indifference about anyone else's opinion of how things might be. Because of this, they changed the world. They taught us to see it through different eyes. Weird people do this. And it mostly isn't because they are trying to teach anyone anything either. We have this obsessive kink that won't let us settle into the tidy, respectable agreements that everyone has made about things up to this point. I so resonate with that. We have this radical desire to follow our inner longings, no matter where they lead us, and we have come to understand that they are going to nearly always take us to places most people aren't comfortable going. In fact, This is why weird people have always been the ones to move humanity forward. We are the ones willing to go to the verge of the horizon where the known world disappears into mystery and uncertainty, to lean out over the raw edge of our own fear and then take another step. Y'all feel that? I feel that. I deeply, deeply feel that. Oh my good. Jacob goes on to write, and this part made me laugh. That sounds all poetic and mystical and shit. But it is what everyone who creates anything real does in extremely practical ways. Every single step forward for humankind has been taken first by someone bold enough to question everything. This is me. This is me. This is me. This is me, y'all. Everything. 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 Oh my God, I get into arguments with people. Especially, oh my goodness. This is me, y'all. That right there so spoke to me. So, it's another great chapter. Chapter 10 talks about how you might be a weird person if. Quote at the top of the chapter says, you need to be a little crazy. Crazy is the price you pay for having an imagination. It's your superpower. Tapping into the dream. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. Ruth Ozeki. Such a good chapter. Such a good chapter. So this chapter really kind of breaks down some of the weird people. Do I want to? Yeah, let me kind of share how he opens the chapter with you guys. He says, we have been talking about all these fascinating creative types as them, but now it's time to turn and face each other for the remainder of this book. Hi, y'all. If you are willing to do that now, I want to sit across from you, move in close enough so our knees touch, and meet your eyes with mine. Let's talk in terms of how this affects us, you and me, right here today in our real lives, and what we can do about it. The truth is, not everybody is weird. Not in the way we're talking about here. Sure, everyone has weird little quirks in their personality, but not everyone has lived through the difficult experience of not fitting in. Most have not taken the terrifying inward journey to discover what is awkwardly brilliant and beautifully cracked. I don't blame them either. Life as a weird person is hard, especially before we find our tribes and get comfortable in our strange skins. Most people, if they think about it at all, would rather just be normal. It's a lot easier. Can we all resonate with that? And he talks about too how people used to like put like weird shit on his Facebook page and how it kind of made him mad and he didn't understand why, because he's a very inclusive person. And there's a difference between, you think you're weird because you wear some weird clothes or you got a mohawk or you pierced your nose, and what we're talking about. And he goes into that in this chapter. He also writes, and there's another wonderful, wonderful quote, you guys. Hear this. You can't know this right now, but your ragged, rugged honesty, your crazy, passionate, naked vulnerability, your trusting plunge into the unknown of life at every turn, your journey of love and healing, these change your world, the world of those around you, and the world as a whole. Someday you'll know how important you are. I feel that shit. I feel that it's such a good book, guys. Get the book. Get this book. Get the fucking book. Okay. Let's go. We're gonna wrap this up soon, but yeah, he goes to the different weird types in this chapter. Chapter 11 is titled "This is Personal." Another great. The quote at the top of the chapter reads, "An artist is someone who uses bravery, insight, creativity, and boldness to challenge the status quo, and an artist takes it personally." Seth Godin. Oh my goodness, this is another amazing chapter. Excuse me. I'm going to share another piece of it with you guys. Here we go. He writes, Jacob writes, "I'm convinced that the great mission of our day is not conquering the sea or space, disease, or tyranny. We haven't quite figured out all of those things out yet, of course, but the grand quest that calls to the hero in every one of us is to become fully alive. Becoming fully alive means that we must stand up, shake ourselves from the inertia of numb lifestyles, and learn what it means to be dynamic creators, then do something about it. In a funny paradox, many of us may find our great mission is in one of those tasks: conquering disease and tyranny, exploring the outer reaches of space, or some other external quest, but not before we have discovered our inner why. It is no longer an either-or proposition, it's both. We've bumped our heads against the ceiling on Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. We can't be satisfied until we break through it into a new experience of self-actualization. And that sounds exhausting, doesn't it? What I'm really talking about is becoming indispensable to ourselves. If we have a tremendous sense that our whole lives are these works of art that we are busy creating every day, we know for sure that no one can replace us. We aren't like the others, and we don't want to be. That's when life becomes personal. That's when it becomes art, whether or not we know how to make music, paint, or write. He wrote at the top of this in this very pretty little box: "The revolution is here now, but it is not one of guns and violence, not a time of bloodshed and hatred. This is irresistible, because people like you and me everywhere simply put down the old chains and live their truth in love. And the world can't help but change when this happens." See how important the weird people are, guys? See how fucking important they are? So fucking important. Chapter 12. It's not optional. We are not on a journey to save the world, but to save ourselves. But in doing that, you save the world. The influence of a vital person vitalizes. Joseph Campbell. Another great chapter. This is like the foot to ass chapter. You know, like, get it going, guys. Let's bust out and do it. I'm going to share the little pretty quote that Jacob writes here. "I need to be startling clear. This thing of finding your authentic voice, expressing your blessed weirdness, and revealing your soul isn't an elegant process. You don't do it to be cool. You don't do it to get laid or get rich. It's only real when it's ruthless, relentless, and inevitable. But it also is a matter of personal and collective survival. Yes, it is that important. You are that critical." Okay. Chapter 13 is about making potential real. Never forget that you are one of a kind. Never forget that if there weren't a need for all of you and your uniqueness to be on this earth, you wouldn't be here in the first place. And never forget, no matter how overwhelming life's challenges and problems seem to be, that one person can make a difference in the world. In fact, it is always because of one person that all the changes that matter in the world come about. So be that one person. Buckminster Fuller. It's a great chapter. It's a really great chapter about delving deep into what we need to do as creatives and why we need to do it, and kind of helping to push you to get there. You know, because I get it. Being a creative is hard, guys. Being a weird person can be a bitch sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Sharing this from the chapter. David W. Orr said in his book, Ecological Literacy, Educating Our Children for a Sustainable World, "The plain fact is that the planet does not need more successful people, but it does desperately need more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of every kind. It needs people who lives well in their places. It needs people of moral courage willing to join the fight to make the world habitable and humane. And these qualities have little to do with success as we have defined it." Have you ever felt that way? That the way you live your life does not fit into that definition of success, and then you feel bad that you're not meeting that definition of success, but at the same time it's cool because you're living your life, but you're not living that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about in here. I'm telling you, you resonate with stuff. Resonate with stuff in this book. And this is going to be the last thing I share with you guys, but I will tell you what the rest of the chapters are about. But he writes at the end of this chapter, and this is where you and I come in, my dear fellow Weirdian. We are here to wake up and remember who we are. We are here to tune into the call of our souls that is begging us to grow into our unique design. We are here to be examples of what is possible when a person does their most authentic thing. There is something that happens when people light up like this. They illuminate the space around them. They wake up other people who have been sleepwalking through life. Without even trying, they change the world just by becoming their most turned on, alive self. This doesn't happen without first becoming aware of and then taking responsibility for our own potential. That is what we are here to do. Chapter 14 is called The Call of the Soul. I love The Call of the Soul. It makes me happy. Chapter 15 is called A Trail of Breadcrumbs. I gotta share another one, guys, from the end of this chapter. Creativity keeps the world alive. Yet every day we are asked to be ashamed of honoring it, wanting to live our lives as artists. I've carried the shame of being a creative since I came to the planet. Have been asked to be something different, more, less my whole. Thanks, Spirit, my wisdom is deeper than my shame, and I listen to who I was. I want to say to all the creatives who have been taught to believe who you are is not enough for this world, taught that a life of art will amount to nothing, know that who we are and what we do is life. When we create, we are creating the world. Remember this and commit. That is from the poet whose name I cannot pronounce either, so I am not going to say it incorrectly, but it was from a poet who said that. Rock the fuck on, you poets. Get the book. Get the book, guys. Okay. Chapter 16 is What If I Fail? A really great chapter as well. I love that he addressed it. Chapter 17 is for the Rebel Magicians. I also love this chapter. I really resonated with the Rebel Magicians. Okay. Chapter 18 is called Raw and Sexy. Let's just get real with it. Okay. Let's dive down into it. Chapter 19 is about leading the new Renaissance. Oh my goodness. And then that's it. I believe that's it. Yes. And then that is it. And then there's a really beautiful afterword. So guys, I mean, the world wants its soul back. True story, bro. True story. So, that was my I wanted to share those passages that really spoke to me out of this book. Share this book with you. If you haven't read it yet, please do. Blessed Are the Weird, a manifesto for creatives by Jacob Nordby. It's better that I hold it this way, right? Better that I hold it this way. Get it, read it, love it. If you've already read it, I'd love to hear what you guys thought about it. So like I said, you'll be able to comment over on my blog. Link is down there in the description. Down there somewhere. Check it out. And I will be interviewing Jake Nordby on the Woo Woo Hour podcast. You guys will get to hear it in February. There'll be some other guests before then, but that's when we're going to talk to Jacob. I hope you guys have enjoyed this book review with Crystal. I don't know what we're going to read next. I haven't decided. We'll probably bust between nonfiction and fiction because I read a lot of both. Like that whole bookshelf behind me, that's all nonfiction, and then I got a bookshelf over here that's all fiction. So I tend to bounce between books a lot sometimes. So I don't know if I'm going to share this book that I'm reading or another book. I'm not sure, but we're definitely going to do this once a month, maybe more often, but definitely once a month. I will be here reviewing a book with you guys. Have a great holiday, everybody. Stay safe, stay awesome. Fucking be weird. Be weird. Do it. Be creative. Do that shit. The world needs weird people. Be weird. All right, we're done. We're out. Be weird. I'm not playing. I'll see you. Be weird. Blessed weird.